So, if you're the only IT person at your company, you already know what it's like to be the hero, right? But what happens when that hero is asked to single-handedly tackle a massive security certification? Well, in this explainer, we're going to break down why that's a trap and, more importantly, how to build a system that doesn't need just one person to save the day.
All right, let's just get right to the heart of it. When you're the one and only tech expert in the building, the pressure to literally do it all is just immense. But when we're talking about something as critical as a security certification, we've got to ask a really important question. I mean, this is the reality for so many of you out there. You are juggling a dozen things at once: laptops, the Wi-Fi, every system under the sun. You're the go-to person for every single tech hiccup. And now, on top of all of that, a full-blown security certification. So the real question is, can one person actually manage all that? You know, the answer to that question isn't a simple yes or no. It's a little more complicated than that. It really boils down to that classic tension between what is technically possible and what is actually a good idea for the company and, let's be honest, for your own sanity. So let's just be super direct here. Technically, is it possible? Yeah. Yes, it is. A single, super dedicated person can build the framework, write all the policies, and even successfully get through an audit all on their own. It can totally be done. But, and this is a huge but, this quote just nails it, doesn't it? Just because you can doesn't mean you should. Real, lasting security isn't built on one person's heroic all-nighters. No way. It's built on a system of shared responsibility, something that can actually stand up to the pressures of the real world. See, when a company relies on just one hero, it creates some pretty serious and often invisible risks. So let's pull back the curtain for a second and look at what's really at stake when you put all your security eggs in one single basket. This really shows the dangerous gap between what people think is happening and what's actually going on. On one hand, you have the company's expectation, you, the hero, holding the entire system together. But the reality? It's a house of cards. What you've really built is a single point of failure. If that one person, you, gets sick, goes on vacation, or hey, finds a new job, the whole thing just crumbles. And these risks are very, very real. First, there's just straight up burnout. One person trying to do everything is just a recipe for exhaustion and, eventually, mistakes. Second, you end up with a huge lack of checks. Without a second pair of eyes on things, critical errors can slip right through the cracks. And finally, you have that single point of failure we talked about. If you're not there, the whole system just stops. Okay, so we've laid out the problem pretty clearly, but what's the solution, especially for a small team? Well, the answer isn't always about hiring more people. It's about shifting the entire mindset from an individual's burden to a shared responsibility. Let's dig into how that actually builds a much stronger system. The solution is this really powerful idea called light roles. Basically, you move from one person holding all the knowledge to a whole network of people sharing small, specific tasks. Look, it's not about making everyone a security expert overnight. It's about giving a few different people manageable responsibilities, which spreads both the workload and the knowledge across the entire team. So what does this actually look like in practice? Well, it could be as simple as this. Maybe someone from your operations team handles the monthly policy updates. Another person in finance could track vendor audits, since, they're already deep in contracts. Someone else could just spend 30 minutes a week reviewing system logs. Remember, the goal here is not perfection. It's about sharing the load to make everything run smoother and a whole lot safer. So, if you are that lone IT hero, listen up. This isn't about adding more to your plate. It's about strategically taking things off your plate. This is all about empowering you to build a system that supports you, instead of one that depends entirely on you. And the first step is so simple. You don't need to roll out some massive new program tomorrow. Just start small. Look at your to-do list and find one task, just one, that someone else could probably help with. And then, go ask for that help. I think you'll be genuinely surprised by how many people are willing to pitch in when they actually understand what's at stake. Let's end on this final thought, because it's probably the most important takeaway from this whole thing. Building a secure and sustainable system isn't about being a solo hero. It's about being a team builder. You really don't have to do it all by yourself.